Right, troops, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go through a bit of detail and theory on the muscle building process and how it sort of relates to your training. And we're going to talk a wee bit about reps in reserve, or RIR. I'm going to start off this piece. This piece relates to hypertrophy, which is another word for muscle building, okay? So most of you in your programs, the majority of the work you do will be hypertrophy work, i.e. the main goal for your training cycle will be muscle building, and the program will be written accordingly. And that is because it's probably generally recognised, but that is the best training style in general for obviously muscle building, but in a wider sense for better body transformations. It's a great way to train during fat loss phases, probably the best way, because it's going to be the most protective of lean tissue. And also it's going to be probably the best way to really bring out the absolute most in your physique in terms of building that kind of classic physique, with really focusing and developing the body parts that you want. So it's probably the main thrust of the programming that we're going to write, the training that we're going to do. But we'll mix it up a wee bit sometimes from time to time. But it's going to certainly be a core part of what we do. So hypertrophy, muscle building. Okay, so the old adage of going in the gym, damaging your muscles with weight training, and then leaving the gym and your muscles grow back bigger and stronger to repair the damage, that is not how muscle is built, okay? The main driver of muscle growth is mechanical tension, okay? Which is the force that muscle's got to produce against a load. It's generally accepted that peak mechanical tension is somewhere around that 1 rep in reserve mark. So reps in reserve is shortened to RIR, okay? Reps in reserve. Okay, so what's reps in reserve? Reps in reserve is a perceived exertion scale of basically me saying, if I was to put a gun to your head at the end of that set, how many more good clean reps could you have done? Okay, so when you take a set to an intensity of 1 rep in reserve, right, meaning you had 1 good rep left in you if I put a gun to your head, or 1 good rep in you before shy of failure, that's generally the intensity that we would work to in the programming, because, as I've said, peak mechanical tension seems to occur somewhere around here, okay? And basically you can look at that as pretty close to failure, right? It's 1 short of failure, true muscular failure, okay? So when we take a set to 1 RIR, 1 rep in reserve, muscular, right? 1 rep short of muscular failure, then from that we can actually deduce that when it's taken to that intensity, the last 5 reps of that set that was taken to 1 rep in reserve will be effective reps or stimulating reps, okay? Meaning ER, right? Effective reps, 5 effective reps, reps that are going to contribute towards hypertrophy or muscle building, okay? So stick with me here. Now, it has been shown that sets of anywhere between 6 reps and 30 reps, everything in there between, as long as you take that set, whether it's a set of 6 or a set of 30, as long as you take it to 1 rep in reserve in terms of the intensity, it doesn't really matter whether you do anything between 6 reps and 30 reps, meaning the muscle growth or the hypertrophy response is the same all the way across from 6 to 30, as long as a set of 6 is taken to 1 RIR or a set of 30 is taken to 1 RIR, they will both produce the same amount of hypertrophy. And whether it's 6 or 30, when we take it to 1 rep in reserve intensity, it will be the last 5 reps of these sets that are effective reps, meaning reps that are actually going to contribute towards muscle growth, okay? So probably leading on from there, what you're probably thinking is, well, if a set of 6, as long as I take a set of 6 close to failure, right, 1 RIR, why would I not just do sets of 6 on everything rather than doing 30 reps, right? Because if I do 6 reps in a set and I take it to 1 rep in reserve, I get 5 effective reps. And if I do 30 reps and take it to 1 rep in reserve, I get 5 effective reps, right? The answer to that is really just a practicality thing. Some exercises lend themselves better to higher reps, some exercises lend themselves better to lower reps. And that's why the reps ranges are going to not always be set down low as 6, okay? There's also a whole bunch of nuance around why higher reps would be better, probably starting out. A beginner couldn't handle loads to actually take a set of 6 to 1 rep in reserve, okay? They wouldn't be able to stabilise the weight, they wouldn't be able to get it up, and so they would never really be able to take a set of 6 to 1 rep in reserve, all right? On the back end, for someone with a wee bit more experience, someone with a wee bit more training experience might benefit from going a little bit lower in the reps, because if we were to take a set of 30, the higher you go in reps, the more your judgment goes in terms of how many reps in reserve you've actually got, right? If I was to take a set to 30, it would be like, well, could I do another 5 or could I do 1? Right? There's more ambiguity in that in bigger sets. So for me, as a wee bit more experienced, I'm probably better off a wee bit down at the lower end. Beginners sometimes a little bit at the higher end, but in general, as I say, it's going to depend on the person, their training experience, and also the exercise that they're doing. Okay? So hopefully we're sticking with me there. Okay? So hypertrophy, muscle building, brought about by the muscle experiencing high degrees of mechanical tension. High degrees of mechanical tension peak at about 1 rep in reserve. Okay? As long as you take sets to 1 rep in reserve, the muscle growth response is the same between 6 sets of 6 all the way through to sets of 30 reps. And as long as we take it to 1 rep in reserve, it will be the last 5 of that set, right? So that's not really wiping off, but okay. Right, so try and just write over this. So set of 6, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so taking it to 1 rep in reserve, but the last 5 reps of that set of 6 will be effective reps, meaning reps that contribute to muscle growth. Same if it was a set of 30, 25 reps accumulated to then get 5 at the end that would be effective for muscle growth. Okay? So the point is, you need to take the sets close to failure, right? You need to try and reach a 1 rep in reserve shy of true muscular failure, all right? Not failure because your grip's failing you, or because you're tired, or because you're breathing heavily, but you need to try and reach 1 rep in reserve because the muscle can barely do any more, okay? So what you're going to see here is how important getting close to failure, training within a close proximity to failure is for muscle growth, right? And as you can imagine, if true 1 rep in reserve muscular failure is the goal, if we're in a set, you can see how it would be so easy to just fall short of that. And if we're 3 or 4 reps short of that, we might only be getting 1 effective rep for muscle growth if we're lucky. Okay? Which is going to mean that whatever you did didn't really contribute to muscle growth. Okay? That's why you see so many people in the gym going hammer and tongs all the time. They're running about, they're sweaty, they're doing really fatiguing workouts. They don't take any of the sets close enough to failure to actually do anything to the muscle. All right? And so this is the big problem. You must take sets really close to muscular failure, right? On the back of that, talking about people taking on a lot of fatigue. So as I mentioned earlier on, the old way of thinking was that if you come in the gym, you damage a muscle, and you come out, you eat, and it grows back bigger and stronger. As we've explained, that's not necessarily how, that's not the main driver of muscle growth. The main driver of muscle growth is mechanical tension. So that type of thinking obviously caused a lot of problems, because what a lot of people got into in the gym was really just accumulating fatigue. All right, more sets, more sets, more sets, more volume. And what you have to understand is that muscle damage and muscle growth are 2 separate processes, but they both take resources at a cellular level. They both use the same resources. Okay? So, in fact, if anything, muscle damage hinders muscle growth. All right? Because again, they borrow resources at the cellular level from each other. Okay? So the goal is not to accumulate fatigue so much within your training. The goal isn't to do a workout and then, feel really sore the next day. That's not really the goal. Okay? That shouldn't be your focus. The goal is simply to take your sets as far as you can take them safely and achieve high degrees of mechanical tension. Okay, so what that's going to mean is obviously pushing the set as far as you can, keeping the form good so that other muscles aren't getting involved, and maintaining a full range of motion and things like that as well. Okay, taking a muscle through a full range of motion, keeping the form really good, keeping the tempo the same, that is going to go a long way to, and as long as you take the set far enough, it's going to go a long way to making sure that you're reaching 1 RIR muscular failure and you're getting the effective reps, the stimulating reps for muscle growth that you need, right? Rather than coming in the gym and just falling that little bit short all the time and essentially achieving nothing, okay? There's a saying, there's no volume solution for an intensity problem, right? Meaning if you can't take sets far enough, it will not matter how much volume you do. It will not matter if you do 10 sets. You're not hitting the muscle building threshold, right? You're wasting your time. You'd be as well going and doing the garden or something like that, right? You must hit that threshold of intensity by taking a set as close to failure as you can to achieve the desired response, all right? And as I say to you, 6 million drop sets, supersets, and a super high volume will not change that if those sets aren't taken far enough. Now, on the back of that, as we spoke about, higher volume stuff causes more muscle damage, okay? So whilst you're not going to accumulate the effective reps that you need for muscle growth through achieving high degrees of mechanical tension, you will damage the muscle more with more volume. As we spoke about earlier on, muscle damage or repair and muscle growth pool resources at the cellular level, they borrow from each other. So again, if you're not taking sets far enough and then you're having to try and compensate that by doing more and more and more and more, then you're just making things worse and worse and worse. And what do we see there? We just see more fatigue accumulation, less results, risk of injury, muscles damaged to fuck, and absolutely no progress in the gym, okay? The other thing about it, which is quite interesting, is that higher volume routines typically give you a better pump in the gym, right? There's more blood goes into the muscle, and so it's quite seducing to want to do more. And while you're in the gym, it probably looks a little bit better in the mirror, but you've got to understand that localized swelling and inflammation is not muscle growth. All right, it's just localized inflammation and swelling. So make sure that you've kind of got that nailed down. And from there, we're going to take it out into the gym floor, and we're going to look at putting into practice 1 rep in reserve and what that actually means, okay? So I'll see you out there. Right, so now that we know the importance of taking sets close to failure, what I want to do is obviously show you in the gym kind of what that's going to mean for us and what that's going to look like in terms of learning to train close to failure. Right? Obviously training close to failure is a skill, and the sooner that you can learn that skill, the sooner you can get the most out of your training and really start to progress your physique to another level. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to demonstrate on both sides here. I'm going to do my left side and my right side, and I'm going to demonstrate probably the training intensity that a beginner would have in terms of like reps in reserve. It will probably look like 6 or 7 reps in reserve, and to be honest, for a beginner, they would probably call that like 1 rep in reserve, but you're going to see from somebody a wee bit more experienced that what looks like or feels like 1 rep in reserve to a beginner is actually like 6 or 7. It's just a wee bit of experience and a wee bit of training maturity. It's going to take time for you to obviously learn to train at this level, but it's just something that happens over time. And so I'm going to demonstrate this here. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate it on this single arm incline, single arm seated pull down. Let me see what that feels like. It's too light. Right, so this is what it'd be like. Beginner, right? Okay, starting to get pretty hard. It's 9, 10. Okay. Right. So there's 10 on that left side, and that was starting to get pretty tough. All right. Feeling it in the lats there. And then I'm going to show you on the right side what something taking closer to failure would look like. Okay. Okay, normally you would rest between sides for this reason, so that you weren't puffed out as you try to make this approach to failure, but I'm not going to do that obviously just now for the purpose of the recording. There's 10, right? Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay. All right. So 16 on that right hand side there. Okay. 10 on the left, 16 on the right. Remember, it's the last 5 reps of a set that's taken within a very close proximity to failure. 1 rep in reserve. It's the last 5 that are going to be effective reps. If I got 16 on that right hand side, this set on this first set on the left, I basically got no effective reps for muscle building, right? So you start to see the importance of learning to train to failure, okay? And you see me breathing on this right hand side when the set starts to get hard, and that's me. That's not cheating. That's just keeping the set going longer, all right? And so for me, when you're training this way and you're thinking about it, when I'm getting to like 10 there and it's starting to get hard, the attitude when we're training to 1 rep in reserve is going to be, now the set starts, right? When I get to 10, it starts to get sore. I can feel the muscle getting sore. Now the set starts, okay? So at that point, I'm thinking, right, try and keep the form good. Big stretch, nice squeeze, full range of motion. Keep the tempo good, okay? Not jerking it around. And as I say at the front, in the rest position, breathe, 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 go. Forward, breathe, breathe, go, okay? And so, because I don't want to get my breathing, my cardio to cut me off short, all right? I want to finish the set because my lat, which is this muscle here, can't do anymore, okay? So that sort of displays, hopefully that sort of displays to you the importance of the intensity that you need to take a set to and what that means for you in terms of your results in the gym, between seeing muscle growth, seeing muscle adaptation and not, all right?